Do we do some telly then?
Let's do some telly.
Cool. So here I am sitting on the sofa at the bike shed with Charley Boorman.
Hello.
So obviously you were in here for a coffee, so me and Dan decided to get some use out of you while you were here and get you on camera. Because I think everybody wants to know, how are you? I mean, you managed to injure yourself a while back and you had a horrible cage on your leg and you were limping about the place and going to shows kind of wrapped in steel. So, and you know, how is it? How's life?
Yeah, things are really much better now. I mean, I think the crash that I had, which was in 2016, and I was doing we were launching the new Tiger 1200 adventure bike from Triumph, and I got involved in a road traffic accident, and this person turned left in front of me as I was overtaking her, and I got clipped, and then I hit a wall and really smashed my legs up really badly, and I broke my tibia and fibula on my left side and smashed it to pieces, and my ankle was very badly broken and dislocated, and so it was a real mess, and it took a long time to get back together. As you know, I've been kind of limping around here for the last sort of 2.5 years, and but I'm seem to be sort of back on my feet now, and I was at the last year, the last 2 summers I've been in Africa doing my motorcycle tours. Been a bit weak on the legs, but because of not really being able to walk properly, but I can ride a bike. So
Yeah, thank God.
I was, for ages I was using a walking stick to get to the bike, and then I'd get on the bike, and I had this walking stick could fold up into 4 pieces, and I'd put it in my back pocket and ride to wherever I was going.
So you didn't have to ride up to a friend and say, wait, grab the handlebars before I put the side stand down and pass me my cane.
Exactly, but I mean, when I was coming here, when I first started riding after I broke my legs, I still had the cage around my leg with all the wires going through, the Ian Hutchinson type of thing, or John McGuinness had the same thing as well. And so I get on my wife's scooter, and I'd come here, and I'd park up outside, and I'd wait for one of the guys working in the restaurant to come out, and they would come in and they would put the Vespa on its center stand, because I didn't have the strength to push with my foot and lift the bike up the side. So I'd be standing there waiting, and the guys would come, then they'd put it up, and then I'd get my stick and I'd sort of hobble in. At one stage, I remember I was riding up here, and I had my crutches in between my arms here with the blanket over my over one of those rain blankets which you get for scooters, and anyway I got stopped by the policeman on the way here, and he pulled me over, and I said, "Oh, officer, have I done anything wrong?" He goes, No, I just recognised you, Charlie, and I wanted to say hello. And I said, "Oh, okay, hi." And he said, "What are the crutches for?" And I said, I'd pulled the thing back, and there was this rainbow shorts, and there was this cage with all these wires going through my leg, and he went, "Oh, God, Jesus, just go, just go." So I don't want to see it. Go away, shouldn't you be on the bike, and all this kind of stuff. So it's funny, it's it had a huge, like any accident, it has a huge impact on your life, and this one in particular, because I'd broken both legs, I was pretty much floored. I spent months in bed, and then months in a wheelchair, and I had a TV show about to go. So a month after this launch, where I broke my legs, I was going to go to Panama with Range Rover and go through the Darien Gap. So we had this big TV show going. And I remember lying in bed, and I came back to England, and I had to have all these operations, and I had to meet with the surgeons, and I had 4 different surgeons to do all different things on my legs, and Russ comes in, who's the producer, who did Long Ways with us, and By Any Means, and the Dakar, and all that kind of stuff, and he comes in and he goes, "So Charlie, do you think you're going to be okay for the Darien Gap in a month's time?" And I'm sitting there with these legs just in pieces, and I said, "Well, I do, there's a slim chance." Oh my God. Anyway, so we lost that deal, and then it's been very difficult. The last 3 years has been very difficult. I've not really been able to make any TV shows. So really, in the last 4 years, I've not I've not done anything really, because there was a 10 or 11 months on the lead up to when I crashed, which was the lead up to the TV show, The Darien Gap, that we were doing. So it was. It's been a real disaster in financially and so much time, and so I'm sitting here now and in the beginning of January 2019 and thinking, hopefully this year will be a year where I don't
finally
crash.
You can get back on it. Yeah, no falling off bikes.
No falling off bikes.
Well, you got to write a book though, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I wrote a book called Long Way Back, which was all about the crash and the rehab really, and up to a point where I got back on the bike. But when you're sitting there and the guys are saying, well, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to keep your leg, not sure if you'll be able to ride a bike again, and then they walk out the door of your hospital room and you're left there on your own thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? And I think some of the darkest times that I've experienced in my life were those moments when you're alone in hospital, in a bed, and there's no one else around you, and you're just left with your thoughts, and they're all mostly quite negative thoughts, and I don't know, I'm sure there's loads of people out there who have woken up with fretting about something in the middle of the night, and you start imagining things that aren't even feasible, but you're sitting there and you're fretting about them and worrying, and so I was worrying about all these things, not being able to walk again and not doing a TV show, and then all these other weird things that kept popping into my head that I was worrying about, and you'd wake up in the morning going, God, what a waste of time of worrying about things, and then you've got to sort of you go through a period. Luckily I only went through a period which was really short, was sitting there and looking back and thinking, God, if only I just left the hotel 30 seconds earlier or 30 seconds later, and I wouldn't be in this position, and you're starting to dwell on the what ifs, and luckily I kind of realized that actually you can't control what has happened. It's happened, and either you just put it down to whatever and just get on with it, or you sit there worrying about it for the rest of your life, and I think you've got to go forward in life.
But it's a real life-changing experience, isn't it? I mean, obviously in our community we know lots of people that have had horrible life-changing accidents, and it's not always because you've broken yourself. Sometimes it's just because it's shown you how mortal you are, or how close you were to death or disfigurement or permanent change. So you've really had a life-changing experience. Yeah,
and I think so, and I feel like I've come out of it on the other side. I feel a little stronger because of it, and getting back on the motorbike and riding again, which is a passion, which a lot of people actually I get a lot of negativity from people saying, had this crash and stuff, and then people say, well that's it then, isn't it? You'll never go back on a bike. And I'm going, I'd never even thought of not riding a bike.
That's people who don't ride. They don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
They really don't understand that it's an interruption to our passion, and you get back on it as soon as you can.
Absolutely, and it's amazing that and one of the big things that I've really struggled with as well was when I was stuck in a wheelchair. How people react to you in a wheelchair. You'd be. I remember my wife would be pushing me down into the little cafe around the corner from our house, and she'd bump into someone who we knew because living in the area, and I'm sitting in the wheelchair and she's talking to Ollie, going, so how's Charlie?
Well, like you're not there.
And I'm looking, I'm going, I'm actually down here. Oh, hello, Charlie. I didn't realise you were there.
I didn't realise you could speak.
Oh my God, yes, it's extraordinary. It's like I had an operation in a hospital, and they have a disabled bathroom in there, and I could slide from the wheelchair onto the seat to have a shower, but they designed it in such a way that when I was sitting on the seat, I couldn't actually reach the controls for the water, so I couldn't turn it on. And if I could, there was just like a little tiny little thing that you couldn't leave it from down here anyway. So I had to sit on thing, and I had to ring for the nurse to come and turn the water on for me. And then I had my shower, and then I'd ring again, and then she'd come and turn the water off. And it's things like that that you think, oh my gosh, people.
It's a whole little world that's opened up to you, isn't it?
A huge world.
We have a couple of people that come here on wheelchairs, and you see the struggles they had. And my stepfather was in a wheelchair. And people don't talk to people in wheelchairs.
No, they don't.
They talk over them. They talk to the pusher.
And they talk, and the great thing is you're sitting there, and they just talk about you in front of you, and you're sort of going, I am here. But anyway, but so you go through these things, and now and now I'm looking at the future, looking at 2019. There seems to be a lot going on for me this year. So I'm really excited to be working.
Yeah. So out of the stuff that went on, especially this year in 2018, with a lot of bike launches and stuff, especially from Triumph, who obviously you're an ambassador for Triumph, but other makes too. What were you looking at going, oh damn, I can't wait to get on that, or I wish I'd been there for that? What were the bikes that floated your boat that have come out in the last kind of year or so?
I think the one that was really I was really looking forward to, and I was looking forward to going to the launch, which I was all set to do, was the 1200 Scrambler from Triumph, and the 900, which you've got one. Scrambler is fabulous bike, and I've ridden it, and it's you love it, we all love it, and the idea of having something with a bigger proper engine with longer suspension travel, which their sort of adventure version has, and that one is really something that caught my eye. I mean, I could see myself, going on a big adventure with that bike, and having some soft bags on the back and a little roll bag on top, and heading out, and there you've got a bike that does a sort of a bit of everything. It's not necessarily your big adventure bike anymore. It's this sort of purposeful, dual usable kind of bike, because we live in a society now, where we used to always have, you were like me, we loved our sports bikes, and we anything to do with speed and track days and all that kind of stuff, and then you kind of think, well, that bike is a little bit one-dimensional because it can only really do one thing, and then you move on to these sort of dual bikes like 1200 Scrambler or the Triumph Tiger or whatever it is, and they do a bit of everything, but they're very much the adventure bike. Whereas you've got something like the Triumph Scrambler 1200 or the equivalents from Ducati or from the other manufacturers, and there's a similar kind of bike, but it's a much more usable bike. You can 80% of your time you're just going to use it around town, really, aren't you? And so I love the way the manufacturers are thinking and listening to people and what they want, and so for me, I think the bike of 18 and coming up 19 is that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's brilliant now about the time we're in is people are demanding certain things from their bikes, and the manufacturers are able to deliver them, and they can make a bike that will do everything you want it to do, and I think that is one of those kind of proper crossover bikes. And a few people
really
have said to me, it's kind of, don't think of it as a giant scrambler, think of it as a small adventure bike.
Yeah,
that it's sort of a mini adventures, that it's that whole kind of thing of, it's not really built for the range, but in terms of capability, it's got that crossover, but then you can just ride it on the road, and it also looks a bit like a giant retro supermoto. It's got a lot of things going on, and I think there have been a few bikes like that. But is there anything else that you've seen, any other sort of exciting machines from other manufacturers who you're not ambassador for, that you're allowed to talk about?
Absolutely nothing. I mean, all the others are just useless. No, I like the new Tenere. Looks very nice. I think it's a really nice looking bike, and I'm glad that they've upped the engine size. I think the original one was a 700 or 600, wasn't it? I can't remember now. 660, and now it's a whatever it is. What the fuck is it? It's 700, isn't it? Is it 700? So it hasn't gone up much at all, really.
No. Okay, tiny tweak.
Tiny tweak. So anyway, we'll start again. Scrap that bit. Okay, so the other bike that I really like the look of is the new Tenere.
Yeah.
It's a really. I love the old one anyway. I just like that kind of slightly square. It took me time to like it.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. When it first came out, I really wasn't sure, and I remember going to the NEC bike show or something, looking at it, and not being quite sure, and it's one of those things that kind of grow on you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like it now, and I think that's a really nice bike. I think obviously the Ducati Scrambler, I like that.
I think everybody's waiting for them to do an 1100 version that's a desert sled.
Yeah, desert sled. Yeah,
hopefully that's coming. That would be
I
nice.
would guess that they would do that.
Yeah, you'd think so.
But I'm just thinking as we're talking. I'm thinking about that 1200 Scrambler, and I'm thinking about giving it to Down and Out, and saying to the guys,
we do like our Down and Outs.
We do,
don't we?
yeah, we do. I'm a big fan of theirs, and because one of the great things about a lot of these manufacturers now, and they're super clever, is that they've done the thing that Mini have done, where you go in and you order what you want. You can have a different coloured panel, whatever you want with Mini, and then your car comes, and that means, and the same with a lot of these manufacturers, is that means that the retailers don't have to hold a whole ton of the same bike. So you go into to your Triumph dealer or whoever it is, and you sit there and you can build your bike, and then a few weeks later the bike arrives and you get what you want, and you can take all the big indicators off, and you can do all your stuff, and I think what they've realized is that all these fantastic bike manufacturer builders, that's what they've been doing. So people have been buying whatever it is out of the shop, and then going straight to whoever it is to change it.
Well, they haven't really left a lot of the builders that much to do, have they? I mean, if you look at the new Triumphs, they've got aluminium fenders already, and tiny little LED lights and small indicators, and actually that's quite often half the job done, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's what is that? It means as well is that because we had such weird laws about everything has to come from the manufacturer, otherwise your warranty doesn't work, and you're this. What they're doing is saying, well, these are all warranty parts. The bike is still fine. Whereas if you take a brand new bike to a chop shop, you might lose your warranty.
Yeah. So what about events for 2019, things you're going to be getting involved with? Now you've got your legs and your work.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
Well, there's I've got a potential TV show which I might do called a while ago. I did Celebrity MasterChef.
Yeah.
And I love cooking.
So your baking game is good.
Yeah. My kitchen style is just, my chopping's quite good as well. But and I came second in that, and had a real hoot. And then it kind of bikes and music and all sorts of stuff I love, and the bike shed and different places and restaurants and where your food comes from and all this kind of stuff, and great produce and stuff like that. So I might be doing a thing called Boorman's Adventure Kitchen.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm going to go back to Ireland potentially and travel around Ireland and look at food and produce and people and
they're going to ride bikes, eat food, and meet nice people.
Yeah, meet
and
nice
then
people,
get paid
listen to music, and get paid for it. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And then what I might do is I might make the pannier into a little kitchen,
a little barbecue,
and then just fold everything open, and then you can sit down there and go down the west coast of and head down into Dingle Bay and get some of the greatest oysters and mussels you could ever have in your life, and cook up a bit of a storm and meet some people, and for me, I grew up in Ireland, and culturally I hung out in pubs and ate food and worked on farms, and there were some real amazing characters that live in Ireland, and it's a fabulous kind of, I feel, slightly unexplored kind of country for people there. It's an amazing place for motorbikes. The Irish love motorbikes. I mean, you look at Northern Ireland and Ireland, the passion for motorcycles and everything Dunlop and everything road racing and just about every kid that I know, dossed about on a motorbike until they broke their arm or something, and then
a bit like now, really. Exactly the same. You haven't changed.
Nothing's changed.
Doss about on bikes till you break something.
My wife said, "Charlie, there's a pattern going on here."
There are some bones you haven't broken, aren't there? Didn't she say something about breaking that one. Again.
Yeah, she said, there's this bone and this bone I haven't broken. And actually, I was going through breaking bones, and I was just thinking, so I've broken both my bottom of my legs. I broke my left leg twice, actually 3 times, because I fell over while I was, this recent one was healing, and I fell over and I re-broke it. And so that took a bit of time, and I've done my forearm, I've done my collarbone twice, I've broken my sternum, I've broken ribs, I've had fractures on my back, I've done a number of stuff on my skull, I've done lots of fractures on that.
So when you do a new TV show and they talk about insurance and liability, does everyone just roll their eyes?
Yeah, or we'll just keep storm. No, but now that it's out, no.
Damn.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, it's always a little bit more complicated, but then insurance is always complicated. So
yeah, for anyone.
Yeah.
And what about bike stuff in terms of shows, events, racing? I mean, obviously there's a MotoGP season to watch. The Dakar's going on right now. So it's going to be a good year of biking ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, we've got the Bike Shed exhibition coming up,
yeah,
which is going to be huge. It was enormous last year. It just seems to be just growing and growing, and there's a real nice vibe to it. People always say to me, "Oh, well, what's the Bike Shed exhibition like? Why should I go to it?" And I said, "Well, it's a bit like those commercials. Is it the Heineken commercials or the whatever it is? If Carlsberg commercial. If Carlsberg did a
bike show,
it would be it'd be that, and you go along and you've got cocktail bars and music and live music and bars and amazing food, which you never get at these other bike shows. You just get
Well, we just knew
rubbish.
Your passion was bikes, bars and food, so we thought we'd put on the perfect show for you.
I mean, it's perfect, and if you feed people, water people, and let them see beautiful things.
It's hospitality.
Yeah.
Job one is look after people, and then they'll stick around and look at the nice bikes.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got this eye candy that's just everywhere, and with these beautiful bikes and the stuff that people are doing. If you look back at about, from 10, 15 years ago, and you look at chop shops 10 or 15 years ago, and what they're doing now, and how much more accessible it is. It's fantastic. Anybody can. And the great thing is that with sort of customizing these bikes and stuff, you can pick up a W650, Kawasaki W650, carbureted, very easy to chop. It's not necessarily has to be expensive to change things around.
Yeah.
You can buy petrol tanks that just slip on, and seats that just slip on, and mud guards and all sorts of stuff. So there's real opportunity now.
So have you got any projects looming?
I've got an SR400, which I had the engine bored out to a 495, and had it all done up, and that was 4 years ago. And the engine is still sitting on top.
So
of
a slightly unfinished project that maybe you could get back to now.
And the frame is this beautiful powder blue frame, and that's sitting on the couch in my little. So that's a possibility. I want to get my hands on the Scrambler, 12 Scrambler. I'd like to do some bits and pieces with that and stuff. And then I've got another project which I'm not allowed to talk about, which is
I think everybody wants
on the
to know
go.
all about that.
So
as soon as you can talk about it, if you're ever allowed.
There's a possibility, but like all these things, there's such a long way. So it's a long way to go in order to sort of get all your sweets in the right bag, and hopefully things will happen there. But it's just way too early to sort of to jinx it. I've worked in the film industry and in television all my life. My father was a film director and stuff, and you would talk about projects coming up, and Dad would never allow to sort of mention that it was going or not going or whatever, because he just felt that the minute you started talking about it as if it was something that was going to happen, it never did. So it's better just to wait. Yeah,
it's a strange business, isn't it? A little bit like LA, Bike Shed LA.
Yeah.
Which we do think is going to happen this year. We think we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to come to LA for our opening party.
Yeah. I mean, it would be. I have great. I have great ideas for the big launch. There's a big, strong possibility of all sorts of things that might happen. But I think for you, I think for the next step is Bike Shed LA is a brilliant idea. You know, so many people ride motorbikes in LA, and so many people love that whole idea. And I think, you know, the way the Bike Shed looks here would fit so perfectly in Los Angeles, and the place and all the bits you've showed me about what's going on there really does look awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be epic.
Yeah.
So, touch wood, fingers crossed.
When you just over there, or just about to go?
We've just been there and going again tomorrow.
Oh, going again tomorrow?
Yeah. When you're not biking, what else do you love? Apart from obviously bars and beer and
drugs and whores.
Drugs and whores
No,
and that
not
kind of stuff.
That, no, I don't. No, I don't.
But yeah, what's your other stuff? You know, what else do you do?
I think cooking is a big thing for me, and I love doing that. So that's one of the big hobbies and stuff. But you know, it's funny, people keep asking me this all the time, but people say, oh, Charlie, you ride motorbikes for your living all the time, and you know, what do you do on your off days?
Ride motorbikes.
So it's very difficult to if I go off for the weekend with some mates or something like that, it's usually we go off on motorbikes and we're off to do to go and do a track day, or to go and I don't know, do something. It's so it's difficult to think of anything else that I do really. But I'm off to talking about. It's difficult. I don't really have any other passions.
That works
Maybe
for
I should
me.
get something else. Because,
no, I don't think so. No, just be one-dimensional like the rest of us. You just ride bikes, have fun, try and find a way of getting paid riding bikes. I think that's the big mission, isn't it? Getting paid to do what we love.
My wife said the other day, she goes, Charlie, let's go on a long weekend break somewhere. And this was a little while ago, and I said okay, and I said well, let's go to Barcelona in Spain. I said I've got a mate we can go and visit. I don't know if you've met Ignacy. His father started Buff, and he's a big.
I think I have met him.
I think he's a lovely guy.
Bought him here, I think.
And he's just broken his tibia and fibia just yesterday.
No.
Actually, yeah. He showed me. We had an X-ray. What would you call an X-ray?
An X-ray off?
An X-ray off, yes. An X-ray off. And he sent me his. And his was actually quite a clean break in the shin. And there was a little break in the...
amateur.
No,
amateur break? That's nothing.
And it was clean. And so it was quite big, but it was clean. So you could see like a puzzle where it was going to fit perfectly. And so I thought, and then I texted him back saying, oh, that's such a shame. And when I sent him my X-ray of my tibia, which looked like an explosion of maybe 30 different pieces altogether. And I said, I think you'll be fine. And he texted back going, yeah, maybe I think I'll be okay. But anyway, so I said, well, why don't we go and see him? And Ollie said, no, that's fine. I said, well, we could do a couple of days in Barcelona, and then we could go to his house, which is just outside Barcelona. And there's a lot to do, and I'll go and ride motorbikes with him. So, but he does this wonderful thing, actually. And I was very jealous of what he did. So every Sunday he gets all his mates get together. There's about 8 or 9 of them get together, and they all ride sort of these old, 70s and 80s and trail bikes and stuff, and sort of motocross bikes. And they do this big ride around where they live, and then they end up in this little restaurant in the middle of nowhere, which has the most fabulous food you could. And they all sit around this table and eat and drink and sort of be merry, and then one of the wives comes and picks them up, and they leave the motorbike.
So they go out on bikes, eat, drink,
and be merry.
Eat Spanish tapas in beautiful weather, drink loads of wine, and then their wives pick them up.
One of the girls will come and pick them all up.
Charlie, what are we doing wrong? Why is this not our daily life?
One country, we just don't have the weather. The weather is It's not. We need to sort of spend, November, December, January, February
In California.
in California, in the bike shed. Yeah.
And then find wives that will pick us up after we've been drinking wine and
Or just
and
get Uber.
eating food, or get an Uber.
It's really cheap Uber in LA. I mean, people say to me now, when I go to LA, I'm going to rent a car. I said, well, you're staying in LA? And they go, yeah, you're not going anywhere. No, you go, well, just get Ubers because you're far, far cheaper to do it there.
Ride and then Uber.
Ride an Uber,
Good
yes.
tip.
And then get some, maybe you should, at the bike shed, you should offer, people to ferry their bikes back to their house for them. They say, look, you come and ride and we'll get you home and we'll get your bike home as well.
Good idea.
Anyway, but I don't know.
So, obviously, as part of Triumph, you get to go on their off-road experience in Wales.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think it's a great thing to offer because a lot of people buy these bikes and and it's not just about the 800 or the 1200. Excuse me. It's not about the 800 or the 1200 adventure bike. It's about the Scrambler. It's about the 900 Scrambler, the new 1200 Scrambler.
Are they putting the 1200 on the fleet as well?
And the 1200 will go in there, and the idea is to go down and people buy this bike, but I think people are often a little bit nervous about adventuring off-road or on, not necessarily off-road, but on dirt roads, gravel roads and stuff like that. And so the idea is that you can have this adventure down in Wales. You go down, you get some fantastic schooling about how to ride a motorbike off-road and that, there are subtle differences between riding on tarmac and on dirt and really sort of get a flavour for it. So if you're often about to have an adventure or just want to learn a little bit more, then that's definitely a place to go and enjoy. And if you want to have a test ride of any of these bikes before you buy them, do I want the 800 or the 1200 Tiger, adventure bike, or do I want the 900 or the 1200 Scrambler, or and so you can have a go on these bikes before you decide to.
And how technical is it?
them.
I mean, because obviously we do the Sunday Scramble, and that really is bring your street Scrambler and ride through the hills around Box Hill and Dorking, and there's muddy puddles and kind of slightly wet streams to ride through, and it's doable on pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I mean, can anybody have a go at the school in Wales? Does it cover all levels?
Absolutely. As long as you've got a license, you can come. And the idea is to give people a taste for what it's like to ride a little bit off road and gravel roads and dirt roads. No one's asking anybody to enter the Dakar Rally and ride. So it's a lovely way to. And as well as that, everything that you learn about off road, about being a bit loose, about braking, about acceleration, momentum. And people talk about momentum. People go, I don't know what momentum really means or anything. And momentum is really important when you're off road. It's so they're giving a taste of all of that. So everything you learn there makes you a stronger, better rider, and makes you a better rider on the road, because everything you learn off road you can adapt to riding on the tarmac or wherever else you want to go. And so it's a great way to advance your riding skills. And it's about locking up the front wheel and knowing what to do with that. And that does happen on the road. If you catch some leaves or something like that, very easy to lock your front wheel. So lots of tips and it's just great fun as well. I mean, it's what better way than go with a couple
More
of
fun
mates.
on two wheels, and another thing to do in your off time when you're not professionally riding.
Professionally riding, exactly. And as well as that, you'll start to realise that tarmac is great fun, but dirt is better. I mean, if I was to choose between tarmac and
we
dirt,
may just ask you
hard.
about that later, Charlie, and the this or that.
This or that.
Yeah, you
okay.
might just get asked. And are we going to get our Charley Boorman bike shed tours going this year, or maybe early next?
I think so.
It would be good to do that.
Yeah, no, I think so. We've been talking about it for a while. We had a little experiment one just last year, which went down very well with some friends of the bike shed, and Billy, Billy Bike Truck, who have been doing it with a little bit. He's just about to head out there to do a couple more. I can't go because I'm in LA working. But so yeah, I think those are pretty much getting ready to be a permanent thing. with the bike shed.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
So yeah, no, they're great. And I think what we want to try and do is, it's like a 5-day trip. So you have a day's travel, you have a few days riding, and then a day travel home.
And
so
the whole thing is, you know, not just adventure bikes.
Yeah.
It's all about just riding. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, it was that whole experience of when we get invited to ride on some of these product launches, and you ride amazing bikes from really nice hotels, but it's actually, you know, it's actually enjoying good road biking as well. You know, options to do off-road stuff if you want, but it's that idea of just getting out there and enjoying something that I haven't really seen other people do in that kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. And to have a fleet of bikes that you know that people can have a go at, that they wouldn't necessarily be able to get their hands on, and again, another great way of, if you're thinking about, you know, if you want a Thruxton, or if you want the Bonneville, or you want, you know, whatever it is, that a Street Twin or whatever it is, you can you know, hopefully come along and have a go at them and decide what you want, and you know, you get 3 days riding with a couple of days travel, and it's not taking up too much time, and
good company and nice
good
food.
company, yeah,
and
nice
a bar.
food and a bar and a
Very
nice
important.
place to stay. So,
And you're going to do
you know,
all the cooking, is that right?
No, I'm going to be at the bar. You know, I'll prop the bar up.
Perfect.
But, you know, very important.
Perfect.
But yeah, so lots going on for this year.
Well, I'm just glad we've got you back. So thanks
Yeah.
for sharing all of that
No,
with
pleasure.
everybody, and probably getting us both in trouble with our wives, which is always good. And
I promise I'll ring you straight back.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah,
It's the
I'm
first
ringing
thing I'm
you
gonna
right
do.
back as well, Vic. I promise, any minute now, wherever my phone is. But no, it's good to have you back. Thanks.
No,
Charley.
it's nice to be back, and you know, it's funny. I've just spent the last. I so enjoyed before all the crashes and everything. I was so enjoying being part of this, and I've kind of lost touch a little bit as to you know, being around. So hopefully, if everything goes okay, you know, hang out here more often. It's a nice place to hang out, I must say.
It'll do.
It's all right, you know.
Brilliant. Thanks,
Yeah,
Charley.
thank you. Pleasure. Oh, is that your?
That is my bloody phone, which I thought I put on silent.
Oh, it's Vic's.
It is on silent. It's the wife. I'm in trouble.
It goes through everything.
It does. It'll go through. I actually put my phone on silent. It's ringing anyway, so I don't know how to stop it. Sorry, Dan. Blame the wife. My phone is on silent. She must have a special thing where if she rings me,
Yeah, it
rings
goes
anyway.
all the way through.
I'm going to tell her.
And go through the Darien Gap with, oh, that's my wife. That's my wife. She's called me as well.
Classic.
That's brilliant.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. And mine's on silent.
It's a special
weird
wife
is that?
call. It's a wife
Yeah.
thing.
Oh my God. I'm
Our
slightly
wives have
nervous
snuck up
now.
on our phones and found a setting where even if you're on silent, they ring anyway.
I wear the trousers. Okay guys, don't forget to look at the YouTube channel and look at all the new videos, and don't forget to click to subscribe so you can find out exactly what's going on. We're going to have a bumper year this year.